Hi, thank you for tuning in, as it were, showing my age a bit. This is an Akai MPC1 video about the basics of using external Midi gear via the Midi out, a standard 5-pin DIN, the old-fashioned way of doing it before USB Midi and all these stupid modern 3.5mm sockets came along. The classic 5-pin DIN Midi socket, which the vast majority of Midi gear can use. And so you can have up to 16 different channels, which could be different pieces of gear. Or what I've done for this video's demonstration purposes is use one of my favourite pieces of gear, an EMU Virtuoso. This was a massive addition to my studio many moons ago, and I'm amazed, even though EMU's disappeared and doesn't make them anymore, that somebody doesn't make these romplers just to save space on people's, or computer power on people's doors or whatever. The romplers are brilliant. There's several in the range. I have 4 or 5 of them, and one of the great things you could do is put more chips in, and which I've done with my Virtuoso. It's fully chipped. It's got 4 sounds that have got nothing to do with the orchestra, which is why it was called the Virtuoso. It was all orchestral instruments. Anyway, enough espousing EMU. This is about the MPC1. But just nipping back, I've got 16 channels on the Virtuoso, but each with the different sounds, and so I can play up to 16 different things from the MPC, and we'll get to it making a noise in a minute. There is no USB Midi, and that's fine by me. And as far as I'm aware, I don't think Akai is planning to do it. So, coming in, you can also have got Midi in which you can connect external Midi controllers. I actually use it to sync my MPC1 to my main studio, because my main studio is run by an Akai MPC 2500, and so I sync it via that. And I actually use, as a keyboard for my MPC1, I actually use an Arturia key step, and that goes in by the USB socket. And that will be used to demonstrate some of these sounds at some point during the course of this video. Right, so the very basic thing, I won't go back through too much of this, but you've got on the main screen, if you ever get lost on where you are on an MPC1, just press the main button and you'll be taken back to a basic sequence screen. And the big important thing here is the different sorts of programs. So that's a drum kit, and I've loaded one up. Whether I actually do anything with it with this video, I don't know yet. There's plugins and key groups, which is chromatic sampling basically, as opposed to a drum kit sampling. The clips, which I don't use, or splice program, clip program, yeah, so I can't remember. And then there's the CV gate, which I've already done a video about, and then there's Midi. Excuse me. So what you can do, if I go onto track 2, because I've prepared this one, strangely enough, you can, if you look along track 2, I've selected Midi. Velocity is 100%, so you can control the volume a bit. You could transpose it if you wanted to, and you can see I'm on Midi channel 1. So I'm just playing with this with the pads at the moment. Go a bit higher. Oh, I can't even pronounce it. A pizzicello, basically. I've forgotten what piz stands for. It's like pizzicato or something. So a stab cello, in other words. So that's on Midi channel 1. So if I wanted to change the Midi channel and play something else. So I'm just doing that on the pads, but I can now do it from my key step. So that, like I say, is just using the external controller of the MPC1 going through to another piece of gear completely. So none of that sound was coming from the MPC, but the MPC was controlling what happened. So channel 3, the harp sound. and so on. So very easy to set the channel. I'll get it on something and leave it there. Oh, an organ, I think. Yeah. Right, we'll leave it on that for a moment. So then you can actually, obviously you can label the track either in the track or you can label your program. You can set the program of the, and as long as your external piece of gear accepts it, it will do a program change on your external piece of gear, and so you can actually change the sounds on the fly if you've got presets or user-defined programs in your external piece of gear. You can actually change it, and obviously that means you can change it during the course of a song as well if you need to. So that's there if you need it. I've never used SMB and LSMB or whatever. I'm not even sure what they're for, but that's that'd be for not basics anymore anyway. But I'll be honest, I've never played with those in years of messing around with Midi. And then oops, sorry, what have I just messed with? Oh, sorry, I've just changed tracks. Let me go back. So the bottom one there, you can see this is the important one. Is it says Midi port, it says MPC. If it doesn't say MPC there, you won't get any noise from from your external gear because nothing's been sent out of the Midi port. So that's actually really crucial that that's there. If it's not there, you nip into the preferences. So preferences, and this is where you set all your Midi setup. You can see this is how mine's set up. There's my Arturia key step. The MPC is my global control, and remote is I've forgotten what that is now. To be honest, I can't remember. Shows I haven't used it. But the MPC out, the one that's called MPC is the MPC Midi in and out. So just make sure that there, and you can see I've set control by track. So that means you can do it differently on the track, and that's the track of the sequence, obviously. So the other options there don't actually do much on the MPC. Basically, I think it's the simplest way of putting it. Slightly more complicated than that, but it doesn't matter for the purposes of this video. Far more interesting is to go into the editing. So there's always on the MPC, and they're very consistent on this on the software. It's a little pencil or pen, whatever you want to call it. And in here, you've got all the various things that are the same as editing anything else on the MPC. So you can humanize, pitch quantize, you can export it, you can split events and do all sorts of things. Excuse me. And if you do a little pencil on the actual Midi, so that's the track, that's like the sequence, the notes you've recorded, if you like. And then the Midi program, you can you could duplicate it if ever you wanted to do it, because you might want to say you're using the same sound for bass and lead sound. I used to do that quite a lot in the old days when I had less gear. You could actually put it on different tracks for easy keeping track, which notes are where and so on. And you could do pad colours if you want to. I have no idea where you want to do that, but you could do if you wanted to. It's quite useful when you're doing sample-based programs because you know which keys or pads have got sounds assigned to them, but not really helpful in this situation. And the other thing to mention is pad performance. So just on the side of the screen there, and you can see here you can assign the notes that the keys go to. You can do chromatic, you can do chords, chromatic chords, progressions, and then oops, sorry, as I touch the touchscreen, and you can set your scales and so on. And there's quite a few different screens to mess with on there, but again, not going to go into too much detail on that because this is meant to be the basics. But it's something that's there, and I have to say I've never messed with that either, because I tend to, what I actually normally do is I play an external keyboard to play whatever I'm playing, to record what I want to record. So, excuse me. And so let's actually. Right, so now it's the same as recording anything else. So. Yeah, sorry, that's something I'd recorded, making sure I was doing it right for the video, but I'm not sure if that So that is this track. You see the blue mark there. That shows you this. It's this track that's making the noise. So I'm going to stop that. I'll actually leave that in there. So I'll go to track 3. Yeah, so track 3, it's exactly the same. You see, but you see, I'm a different MIDI program now. I don't actually really need to be. The main reason to do that is if you wanted to do a different channel program, a different program. So if you wanted your external gear to go to a different program. So drums. I'll have that one. Okay, and just check I'm on a different channel. Yeah, because I'd messed with the channels, I couldn't remember what channel I was on. So I've used channel 4, so this is channel 2. So now the other sound will play, and I can record something over it. Bit subtle, but it's there. Hopefully that came over okay. And again, I did that from the external gear. So if we went to let's do another track from scratch. I haven't done any more. So the track is unused. We're on MIDI. We've used 2 and 4, so let's use 6 just for the hell of it. Oh, so we've got no noise on 6. Oh, hang on, let's go. You see, there you go, because there's no port selected. So you do need to make sure you've got your port selected. Okay, so you see how quickly you can do that, but you saw there. Make sure you know what channel your piece of gear is on, whether you want to have a program number or not, and then make sure it says MPC out. Assuming that's what your port's called, as I mentioned in the screen, on the preference screen, because you can relabel these if you want to. Whenever you see a little keyboard symbol and it's lit up, you can change the name. So if you wanted to call it MPC Midi out or whatever, you could do if you wanted to, but it's clear enough for me, so that's fine. Excuse me. So that's showing you that from scratch. And so let's so just like you can do with anything else within the MPC1, mute works. So and then solo. So I'll just shut that up for a moment. So you can use those. I've shown you where you can quantize and humanize and various other things underneath the track. There's other things you can do within the sequence, but they're all the standard things that you can do on any sequence. So add and delete bars, share events. So if you've got a melody line you wanted to take to another sequence or put on another track to do something, to double it up or something, that's where you do that. And then the only other thing to mention on this one is just checking so I haven't missed it. Missed anything? No, I haven't missed anything else on that front. I'm sorry. So that's everything under the sequence tracks screen. I've shown you the preferences. The other thing to show you is channel mixer, and then there is this screen, which I have to say I've not really messed with, but you can see here these volumes, and so you can actually change the MIDI volume of external units. You can actually do that within the sequence as well. So I'm not quite sure why you need it, but but you could potentially, especially if you're doing a complicated piece, it might be handy, because if you pick one, and you can see the channel strip at the left hand side of the screen keeps changing to match. You could solo it, mute it, or play it if you. Oops, sorry, yeah. And that's just showing you what things you can use. Sorry. So sorry, that was pressing that little keyboard symbol, piano keys, not typewriter keys, and it choose what MIDI you could show. Gave you some more MIDI information, but again, because you see this box is there's an orange box around it, so I can control the volumes of these 4 Midi channels, or 4 Midi tracks I've done already with the Q links. You can see the things messing around there. Obviously you can't see that one as soon as the thing opens, but you can see it on this screen, so it's okay. So like I say, I've not really messed with that screen very much, but it's available if you need it. So I think that's it. If you have any questions about attaching any gear through the Midi out, feel free to ask. It's pretty straightforward once you grasp the making sure. What caught me out was making sure it said MPC in the box. It took me a little while to work that out, about doing the MPC in the box, because again, the manual isn't always very helpful. If you want a little nugget of information, it can be a right pain in the bum trying to find it in the manual. So, yes, that's enough said about that, really. Hence the need for these videos, I think. So that's it. Thank you very much, and hope you found that useful.